Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So today we got to talk about Karl Anthony Towns and the Minnesota Timberwolves head coach calling him out for big stat hunting. And we saw Joel Embiid send a message to Victor Wembanyama that same night, going for 70 points. And there's an element where you get close to a number, you start to hunt that number, but you have to stay within the flow of the game. Your teammates are aware of it, you're aware of it, but you have to be so dominant that you're not hurting your team. And I can say Joel Embiid and the Sixers were very much in control of that game throughout. So even though the Spurs made surges late, the game was never in question, and Embiid was going to the foul line doing different stuff. Yeah, he hunted a few shots that he probably shouldn't have took, but he was so dominant that game, they were never in danger of losing the game. Cat, on the other hand, they lost a home game to the Charlotte Hornets after losing to OKC just a few days ago. And I'm not a stat nerd that puts too much into these type of things, but he has 62 points. Was it 8 boards, and he shot 21 for 35 from the field, 10 for 15 from 3, 10 for 14. So I would expect him to have a plus minus higher than 0. He had it's saying, he had no impact on the game. Now, you can't always buy into that because sometimes you be in with the bad lineups and you blow leads with those lineups. So, but when you got 62 points, your plus minus should be on the positive side of things. It should indicate that you had an impact on the game. Even though I don't put too much stock into that normally, when you have a night like that, shoot like that from the field, it would seem that you're having a positive impact on your team. And I want to be clear, any NBA team can beat another NBA team on a given night. But Cat was called out by his coach, man, for shot hunting, and he said that the team disrespected the game trying to get Cat, those stats. And you have to wonder, does somebody on the bench or somebody on the coaching staff, somebody around them, make them alert of what Joel Embiid had that same night? But we're going to listen to the coach. Let's check it out.
The ball. You got to wonder if Karl Anthony Towns is just gassed. He's already played 37 minutes.
Obviously, we're going to try to feed a hot hand, look for a hot hand, but at some point, we got to get back to making the right play. We got to get back to doing the right things. That's just, like I said, there's a lot of ways to be immature. There's always a lot of ways to be immature. And there was a lot of immature performances here throughout the roster. We totally disrespected the game ourselves, and we got exactly what we deserve. So,
Chris, did you also see? Did it turn into Karl trying to hunt like a big number?
Yeah, but for a while, it was going, but down the stretch, you got kind of dried up for us. But yeah, so
why?
It was an absolute disgusting performance of defense and immature basketball all the way through the game. So it really didn't slip away. It had been there from the jump. So this is what happens when you have this type of approach.
Post-game presser, Finch used words like disgusting and immature to describe your team's approach coming into this game. Would you agree with that, sir?
I'll tell you one thing. He ain't lying to y'all because he said the same thing to us. So what you're hearing about him in the post game is what we're hearing in the locker room, and just it's words he picked today, and it's true. I think that at the end of the game, with everything going and everything, we just have to find a way to be mature and get the job done, and something we've done really well all year, and just unfortunate it bit us tonight, and it cost us the chance to come out of here with a win.
And up like 20 in the fourth, and they just walked us down.
Just in terms of the focus that you guys had, did you see that kind of
we
go
weren't focused.
In terms of you didn't focus?
We wasn't focused from the jump at all. We was never focused. Cat just had a great night. We wasn't focused though.
He started out on fire. Did you think that the focus turned from winning the game to just trying to get him?
Yeah, for sure. I think once he hit his first 6, 7 shots, I think everybody was pretty much just trying to see him go get 100 points. I knew I was. So.
This team has been so mature for most of the year and handled these games.
Immature as fuck tonight.
Yeah. Why do you think that was the case?
I mean, he got hot. So I think all of us, as 15 of us in here, 14 of us wanted to see him get 80 or whatever it was. So I think we're going to learn from it, though.
Was that hard for you to go from not shooting at all?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm mad. I'm pissed, but I mean, it's all good. He career high. Congratulations to Big Cat. He definitely went for 60 for sure. So it's one of a kind performance. So I appreciate him for giving me that.
And when you look at Karl Anthony Towns' stat line, you can see that he has 7 turnovers. And, you know, if those turnovers come in the midst of you hunting shots and, you know, the other teams getting out in transition is providing easy opportunities for those guys, and you're, you know, they start to see a bigger basket and your teams are getting tight because they went away from fundamental basketball into like isolation, one-on-one basketball for you stat chasing. That could spell trouble for you and the entire roster. And what I would like to say is they've said this about other people. They said this about Devin Booker, his 70, I believe, against Boston years ago. You have to absolutely make sure you win the game. You cannot, you know, be chasing this to the point that you allow yourself to lose a game like that. The Timberwolves have been good all year, and the Hornets have been pretty bad all year. Yes, those teams are going to come in with desperation and probably play a bit above what they normally do when they see one of the top teams in the league. So you can't play with your food, and you got to be cognizant of who's in your building, what they're trying to do. They're upset-minded, and you're just going to go out there and stat chase. Cat has to be a better leader than that. I remember he called out Anthony Edwards about some of the things he was eating and putting in his body and taking that next step as a superstar. Let me see if I can find that clip. Let's peep.
Ant was just telling us that he puts a lot of this on him, and he's got to be better in back-to-backs, that he has not done that so far. Can you help him through that, or just is that a young player trying to figure out what to do in this league and how to answer the bell 2 nights in a row?
Maybe I could do a better job of teaching him how to take care of his body, diet and everything. So that'll be on me. I know y'all think it's funny up here when he talks about Popeyes and all that shit. That doesn't make me happy to hear. We're high-level athletes, so. I got work. I got work to do. But also, it falls on me too. The old cliche. It falls on you. Everyone wants to take the blame, but it's all of us.
Now, he did take some of the blame for his leadership in that instance, but he did call out Anthony Edwards for the way he was talking about eating Popeyes. I know he talks about eating candy and all that Southern food. Him being from Atlanta and everything. And Cat said that didn't make him happy to hear. Well, Cat, you can't be out here shot hunting and getting away. Even if you find yourself getting towards that number, you in a tight game, you already know the coverages is coming your way when you got those stats. So it should be easier. If you're shooting that way, it should be easier for others. Now, we saw Leaky Black and those guys. I know the 2-minute report came out and said you got fouled going to the basket and all that. But the refs hold that against you too, believe it or not, man. When they see that you're chasing a number and another team is, playing hard, trying to play more physical defense, they let a little bit more go when it looks like you're out of the flow of the game. Because they like, nah, we ain't putting this dude on the line because it's 2-3 people open right there and he's just going to go into traffic, with no regard. And that's what he experienced the other night. Yeah, he was fouled. He was fouled twice going to the basket, but the game was already thrown off so bad with his, I ain't even gonna call it assertiveness on the offensive end, but it turned into selfishness on the offensive end. And so, you get officiated that way. Selfish players get officiated a different type of way. Now, I don't believe Cat overall is selfish, but I think he allowed himself to get pulled into that stat thing. And I really feel like he knew what Joel Embiid had that night. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, because I think Joel Embiid's game ended a little bit earlier, and I think somehow, some way he caught wind of that, whether it was in the locker room at halftime, whether he heard it from somebody in the crowd, or because these dudes be on their phone on the bench and all types of stuff. So I think he got that information and he was hell-bent on getting that number. But you can't lose a home game that you were up most of the game on the Charlotte Hornets. You just can't allow that to happen in this sort of way. Now, if they get hot from three within the flow of the game and it's just day night, even though they're a bad NBA team, they're still an NBA team. Okay, they could get hot, do their thing like that. Then you can't do nothing about that. But if it falls on you, your shot selection and your inability to stay within the flow of the game, you had to be benched. That's why I want to show that clip at first. You had to be benched in a game where you had 60 points. So that says a lot about how the coach and the coaching staff was assessing your performance and how it was detrimental to the team. So, man, I'm not going to be too critical of Cat because they have been a good team all year, but they got to get back to the basics. You can't allow yourself to fall into that. You know, it's a different story if you up 30 with like 3 minutes left and you're trying to hit certain milestones, but can't do this in a 3 to 5 point game, you know, when you're already getting double and triple teams because you've been so efficient, so hot from the field for most of the night. But I want to know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Let me know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.